Hello everyone, welcome back to my brain dump. Beginning of this, I'm going to have some helpful links right here to take a look at, as well as kind of what you're going to see in the test, percentage-wise. Majority of the test is going to be on threats, attacks, and vulnerabilities. So really hit hard on that. Let's get started. Alright, a user attempting to log onto a workstation for the first time is prompted for the following information before being granted access: username, password, and a 4-digit security PIN that was mailed to him during the account registration. This is an example of which of the following? The answer is C, single-factor authentication. Now this can trip people up because they think, oh, a 4-digit security PIN was mailed to me, so they physically have it, but it's still something that you know. So therefore, you know your username, you know your password, you know your 4-digit PIN. So it's actually just single-factor authentication. Peter, the system administrator, has concerns regarding users losing their company-provided smartphones. Peter's focus is on equipment recovery. Which of the following best addresses his concerns? The answer is C, enable GPS tracking. The reason you wouldn't want to use remote sanitation is because right here he says his focus is on equipment recovering, so he wants to recover the equipment, not just get rid of it or remote wipe it or that kind of stuff. An incident response team member needs to perform a forensic examination but does not have the required hardware. Which of the following will allow the team member to perform the examination with minimal impact to the potential evidence? The answer is B, mounting the drive in read-only mode. Mounting the drive in read-only mode will prevent any executable commands from being executed. This in turn will have the least impact on potential evidence using the drive in question. A user has several random browser windows opening on their computer. Which of the following programs can be installed on his machine to help prevent this from happening? The answer is B, pop-up blocker. Which of the following would be a reason for developers to utilize an AES cipher in CCM mode? The answer is D. It allows a block cipher to function as a stream cipher. A company is looking to improve their security posture by addressing risks uncovered by a recent penetration test. Which of the following risk is most likely to affect the business on a day-to-day business? The answer is D, lack of antivirus software. The most common threat to computers is computer viruses. A computer can become infected with the virus through day-to-day activities such as browsing websites or emails. Which of the following disaster recovery strategies has the highest cost and the shortest recovery time? The answer is B, hot site. A hot site is a location that can provide operation within hours of failure. This type of site would have servers, networks, telecommunication equipment in place to reestablish service in a short time. Jane, the security administrator, sets up a new AP access point but realizes too many outsiders are able to connect to that access point and gain unauthorized access. Which of the following would be the best way to mitigate the issue and still provide coverage where needed? You got to select two answers here. The answer is C and D. Enable MAC filtering and disable SSID broadcasting. So we're going to disable the broadcast, people can't, just openly see it, as well as we're going to enable MAC filtering, so if anyone with a MAC address that's not supposed to be on the network will get filtered out. Peter, the systems administrator, is setting up a wireless network for his team's laptops, only it needs to prevent other employees from accessing it. Which of the following would best address this? The answer is D. Implement MAC filtering on the access point. Like we said earlier, it's going to see that the MAC addresses are not supposed to be on there. Like 802.1x is awesome for kind of just filtering out MAC addresses and logging down a port if someone's trying to get into it. An organization has a need for security control that identifies when an organizational system has been unplugged and a rogue system has been plugged in. The security control also provides the ability to supply automated notifications, which the following will allow the organization to best meet this business requirement. I talked about this earlier, actually, in the last question. It's D, port security. It's basically the portal gets shut down, as I was saying, like on 802.1x is awesome for this because they'll see another MAC address just got plugged into this port, and it's going to be just shut down. In an organization, unauthorized users have been accessing network resources via unused network wall jacks. Which of the following would best be used to stop this unauthorized access? C, configure port security. Again, it's going to lock down the port because you can see another MAC address is trying to get in there. Or just, don't actually, like, when you're inside the closets or the servers and you're right there next to the, the ports are going into the actual switches. I mean, just make sure you're not having them connected, to the switch. I mean, if they're unused wall jacks, there's no point in having them hooked up in the closet. Which of the following is the best practice when a mistake is made during a forensic examination? Answer is C. The examiner should document the mistake and a workaround the problem. Every step in incident response should be documented, including every action taken by the end users and the incident response team. After recovering from a data breach in which customer data was lost, the legal team meets with the chief security officer and discuss ways to better protect the privacy of customer data. Which of the following controls support this goal of protecting customer data? The answer is B. Encryption and stronger access control. Encryption is used to protect data, content, documents. Access control refers to controlling who accesses any data, contents, and documents, and to exercise authorized control to the accessing of that data. Which of the following is true about asymmetric encryption? Answer is D. A message encrypted with a public key can be decrypted with the private key. Establishing a method to erase or clear cluster tips is an example of securing which of the following? The answer is B. Data at rest. A computer hard disk is divided into small segments called clusters. A file stored on a hard disk usually spans several clusters, but rarely fills the last cluster, which is called the cluster tip. This cluster tip area may contain file data because the size of the file you are working with may grow or shrink and needs to be securely deleted. Data stored on the hard drive is called data at rest. Which of the following security awareness training is best suited for data owners who are concerned with protecting the confidentiality of their data? Answer is D. Information classification training. Information classification is done by confidentiality and comprises of three categories, namely public use, internal use, and restricted use. Knowing these categories and how to handle data accordingly, its category is essentially protecting the confidentiality of the data. Which of the following types of cryptography should be used when minimal overhead is necessary for a mobile device? The answer is B. Elliptical curve cryptography. Regarding the performance of ECC applications on various mobile devices, ECC is the most suitable PKC, public key cryptography, scheme for use in constrained environment. Elliptic curve cryptography is an approach to public key cryptography based on the algebraic structure of elliptic curves over finite fields. One of the main benefits in comparison with non-EC cryptography with plain glass field spaces is the same level of security provided by keys of smaller size. Using smaller key size would be faster. Which of the following is the most likely cause of users being unable to verify a single user's email signature and that user being unable to decrypt the sent messages? It's A, unmatched key pairs. Explanation: in PKI, the sender encrypts the data using the receiver's public key. The receiver decrypts the data using his own private key. The sender and receiver must have matching key in order to recover and decrypt the data. Sometimes work around this in Outlook if this is not working. Sometimes you just want to send them a signed message first, then they'll send you a signed message, and then you can send them a encrypted message, and then they should be able to decrypt it. That's just one weird little workaround I've learned from work. A security administrator wishes to increase the security of the wireless network. Which of the following best addresses this concern? Wow, this last one looks pretty dangerous. The answer is A. Change the encryption from TKIP based to CCMP based. CCMP makes use of a 128-bit AES encryption with a 48-bit initialization vector. This initialization vector makes cracking a bit more difficult. Which of the following ports is used to securely transfer files between remote Unix systems? The answer is B, 22. SCP copies files securely between hosts of network. It uses SSH for data transfer and uses the same authentication to provide the same security as SSH. Unlike RCP, SCP will last for passwords or passphrases if they are needed for authentication. Just kind of think Taylor Swift, no one likes you when you're 22. Think of a eunuch. So Unix systems. Kind of funny little joke to memorize that. A company needs to receive data that contains personally identifiable information, PII. The company requires both the transmission and data at rest to be encrypted. Which of the following achieves this goal? Select 2. The answer is A and F. It's SSH and PGP-GPG. We can use SSH to encrypt the transmission and PGP-GPG to encrypt the data at rest on the disk. Secure Shell is a cryptographic protocol that can be used to secure network communication, establish a secure tunnel over the insecure network. Kind of like just saying shh, whispering something. Pretty good privacy. Kind of sounds funny. Is a data encryption and decryption solution that can be used in signing encryption. The encrypting text, emails, files, directories, and whole disk partitions, and to increase the security of email communications. Which of the following is most critical in protecting control systems that cannot be regularly patched? It's B, full disk encryption. Data center access is controlled with proximity badges that record all entries and exits from the data center. This access records and used to identify which staff members access the data center in the event of equipment theft. Which of the following must be prevented in order for this policy to be effective? D, tailgating. Tailgating is a term used for someone who is being so close to you when you enter a building that they are able to come right behind you without needing to use a key card or any other security device. Actually, funny thing, someone actually got busted by a red team that came to their hospital, different base, that were doing the security checks. And the reason the person got busted from tailgating was because there was 2 sets of doors to actually get into the building. You had to swipe your badge both times. For some reason, their card only showed up on the second set of doors, which means they tailgated someone to get into the first door, and then they used their badge to get to the second door. So, I mean, they were allowed in the building, but they still used tailgating to get into the first door, which is not allowed. The use of social networking sites introduces the risk of A, disclosure of proprietary information. People and process must be in place to prevent unauthorized disclosure of proprietary information and sensitive information that's pose risk to security to companies. I'm going to finish this video up. Please stay tuned for the next video. Thank you.